All right, let's just jump right in, because today's topic has a pretty powerful, maybe even a little dramatic title: Why You Should Carry a Resignation Letter in Your Heart. And I know how that sounds, but stick with me, because it points to this really profound shift in how we can think about our work, our roles, and ultimately our own sense of freedom.
And it all kicks off with this one simple question. I want you to really think about this for a second. Right now, in your current job, are you staying there, or do you feel like you're being held there? The difference between those two feelings, well, it changes absolutely everything.
To really get why that question matters so much, we first need to talk about something a lot of us feel, but maybe can't quite put a name to. It's this idea of the invisible prison of a job.
Look, our jobs give us a lot, right? They provide a foundation for our lives, a steady paycheck, responsibilities that are clearly defined, a routine you can count on, and those things are genuinely valuable.
But here's the thing. That stability, it often comes with a hidden cost. Without even realizing it, we can start to feel like we've traded away the very possibility of leaving. It's like those golden handcuffs click shut, and suddenly we feel like we just don't have any other options. And this is what that shift feels like on the inside. When your job feels like a choice, work is an activity, and the time you spend there is time you're actually living. But the second it flips into a necessity, well, work becomes pressure, and time becomes something you just have to endure. And that feeling is at the root of so much burnout and fatigue.
So how do we break free from this internal prison without, actually storming out the door? Well, that brings us right to the core idea of this whole explainer: carrying a resignation letter in your heart.
Now, let's be super clear about this. This is not a plan to quit. It is not about being disloyal or checking out. It's a mental stance. It's this constant internal awareness that you are choosing to be there every single day instead of feeling like you're chained to your desk.
And when you start thinking this way, something really cool happens. It creates this powerful, healthy separation between who you are as a person and what you do for a living. Let's dig into how that works.
You see, this isn't just some abstract philosophical idea. It literally changes how you show up to work. You go from feeling completely consumed by your role, almost trapped by it, to being someone who can coexist with their work, separate, whole, and engaged, but not imprisoned.
This healthy space means you can finally breathe. You stop seeing your company as the be-all and end-all for your survival. You stop over-identifying with your job title. It allows you to do your job and do it well, but you never mistake that role for your entire self. The roles simply can't consume you anymore.
And this leads to a really fascinating and kind of counterintuitive result. Let's call it the freedom paradox.
So here's the paradox, and it might sound a little backward at first. The feeling that you are completely free to leave at any moment is what actually allows you to become more engaged and more immersed in your work. So why does that happen? Well, it works like this. You start by preserving that possibility of leaving in your mind. Because you know you could leave, staying becomes an active choice, not something you're forced into. And because it's your choice, you can commit to it more fully. Your responsibilities start to feel less like heavy obligations and more like things you're taking on willingly, maybe even with a sense of joy. At the end of the day, this entire practice is less about your employer and way more about you. It's a powerful internal declaration of your own power and your own agency. This quote really is the soul of the whole idea. It's not something you say out loud to your boss, it's a mantra you say to yourself. It's a reminder that your life isn't about just surviving inside some corporate structure, it's about your fundamental power to choose your life. And hey, let's be real for a second. Economic pressures, family responsibilities, they're all very real. Quitting a job isn't always easy or even possible right now. And that's exactly why the true power here isn't in what you do tomorrow, but in how you position yourself internally today. So even if you can't walk out the door today, just holding on to the possibility that you could, that creates vital psychological space. It's like a little bit of breathing room in your own mind. It's a buffer that protects you from feeling totally overwhelmed by your circumstances.
Which of course brings us full circle, right back to where we started. This entire mental framework is designed to help you answer that one fundamental question for yourself.
So if there's one thing to take away, it's this. Carrying a resignation letter in your heart is not about plotting an escape. It is about preserving yourself. It's a tool for maintaining balance so you can perform your role and perform it well without ever feeling like you're a prisoner to it.
And that really is the final, most important point. This letter isn't a weapon to use against your company.
It's a personal key. It is never meant to be handed in. It exists for just one reason, to remind you that you hold the power to choose, and you never have to forget that.
So I'll leave you with the same question we began with, but hopefully now with a totally new way of thinking about it. Take a look at your life, your work, your role, and ask yourself, honestly, are you staying or are you allowing yourself to be held? The answer really does define your freedom.